Hello everyone and welcome to another pre-race show, if I can call it that, of another round of the ORL Mobiuz Pro League in F1 2021. Here is Ruben Reisberg Mania, and alongside me we have Joana Gaunt Brito in the commentary booth. And Joana, we come out of last week's very exciting race. It came right down to the wire, but we did have somewhat the same result in terms of the top step of the podium. It was Daniel Haddad getting the top honors last time out at Suzuka. Mena and Loveche also got great podiums, not only for their seasons but for their teams as well. Now, Joana, Dani Berezna, he got very unlucky. He got some kind of stutter on his game, on his PC, and that dropped him multiple places, put him out of contention for the race. What can he do today?
Good evening, Ruben. Good evening, everyone watching at home. Um, Indeed, same winner, but very different. Well, not very different story of the race if you consider that it was a late safety car, bringing them all even closer, and that has been happening quite a bit through this season. But yeah, very unfortunate once more for Daniel Beresnay with that issue that tapped him to
I believe it was
desktop, if
7th.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Um, but if it was on the straight, it was one thing, but it actually happened while he was in
That's
spoon, which is a very technical corner, very important to get the acceleration point really well. And of course, the AI doesn't do it as well as Danny Beres. That cost him quite a few positions. Could have definitely cost him a shot at the win. Um, but respect for Daniel Zadad race. He had quite a few drivers in his DRS range throughout most of the race, but still managed to defend the first position all through it. Um, Very interesting to see. I'm not sure actually if Mane is racing tonight.
mhm.
Do you know?
I'm not sure if Mena is racing, but I can check real quick.
Yeah, he
But
is. He is. He'll
yeah,
be in the Alfa Romeo. So um, quite curious to see what follow up after that P2 he can give us. Very interesting to see what he can do. And of course, Domenico Lovecchi, second, third place in the row after Bahrain, now Japan. Let's see if he can make it 3 out of the last 3. Of course, he will have quite a few drivers trying to make that not happen.
yeah, exactly. Also mentioning Pablo Armengol and Oscar Villacampa, both of them got some very respectable positions. And if I recall correctly, they both started from the back of the grid, so they really capitalized on the events of the race. They managed to pick up spots where others made mistakes, and of course, overall, with a great strategy as well, and managed to claw their way back up the order. Alvaro Puerto as well with a top 5, nicely done from him. Patrick Cruti, he finished in P9, sorry, P8. I was expecting just a little bit more from him. Unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. Let's see what the pole is able to achieve today. Gregory Balati got the last of the points paying positions, and he's also racing today at Alfa Romeo. So, well, it's going to be interesting. Another interesting point is that once again, the AlphaTauris have a weekend to forget. Really, what do you have to say about that?
Well, one of the Alpha Tauri's wasn't here last time around, so
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that bad for him, or it was even worse if you want. But Alessio unfortunately wasn't able to capitalize on that late safety car. It really helped those on the alternate strategy, those that had start on the slower compound. Um, those who waited a bit longer because some of them had already stopped really came out on top thanks to that. Um, a word about what you said regarding Patrick. I had the same opinion. I have the same opinion. I also was expecting a bit more for him, which just shows our faith in his pace, and we know he has the pace. So let's see what he can achieve today. He will have Manolo Villar next to him again. Manolo wasn't able to be here last week. He's now back in his Mercedes car. Um, we have a few guys also coming in for the first time. Um, I'd say Luke Smith will be very interesting to follow, considering what he has been showing lately. Let's see how he can cope with the streets of Coda. Not streets, it's not a city
It's not.
circuit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, but still, yeah, let's see what he can do and how he compares to the rest of the grid.
Isn't I know Karma? He took part of the that All Star event, but I don't think he has raced in this season of ORL.
He
Karma,
was here last week.
was he? I
Yeah.
actually don't remember him. I actually do not.
He's Alexi Morichon.
Oh, okay. So that's why. That's why I was. That's why I was mixing him up. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He actually got points. Morichon.
We keep saying the
He
name
got
as if
ninth.
he is Spanish, so I can understand your confusion.
Yeah.
And
He got.
apologies to Alexis, because it's easier. It really sounds like a Spanish name, and we get fooled by that.
Yeah. He got 2 points. out of his efforts last time out. So
His
let's
first 2 points.
yeah, exactly. So let's see if he can build up on those. It would be nice to see from the Alpine driver. And now it's time for us really to get to our predictions, if I can say that. And Joanna, which are your predictions for today?
Race or quali?
Uh, you can do both. We don't mind.
You don't mind.
I don't for sure.
Okay. I'm actually going to go with two very predictable bets and one that I've talked a bit before. So I'd say Haddad, Beresnay, and Luke. I'm really curious to see how he compares, considering when comparing to Krutik, to Yemelo, let me see, to even to Manolo Villar, who has uh, he started really well the championship and had two and then one not showing up, bad ones. But we've seen that he is able to get a podium, so curious to see what he can achieve.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be quite interesting. Of course, from my side, I think Haddad is going to get himself on pole once again. I think Beresna will do
Okay,
second place.
considering
Yeah.
considering your bet, I'm going to switch Beresnay first, Haddad second. So we have
Okay.
different.
Okay. I see how it is. Uh, but yeah, I would put Haddad P1, Dani Beresna P2. Uh, I mean, Haddad has been on a great form, so I really cannot bet against him. I would say I would put Capua in P3 and Lovece P4. Because those two, they have really strong qualifying performances. Just always something happens in the race. So Lovece has been able to counter that in the last few races. He has really been able to get some podiums together, but Di Capua, he still has his string of bad luck and he doesn't seem to be able to get rid of it. So let's just see how it goes. But I'm betting on those four in that order. And then for the race, it's USA. I'm not sure if an unlucky driver like Di Capua will be able to make use of a race like this, because it can get quite chaotic, especially in the first lap into turn one. It's quite a wide entry into turn one, but it tightens up on the exit, so you could get too much car for too little racetrack, and some incidents could happen as well. It's a very tricky turn one. It's a very tricky first lap, especially as everyone gets into the beginning of the third sector. Very technical, but some drivers do try to surprise some others into the hairpin of the third sector. So it's quite an interesting lap, first lap, and we could have a bit of drama. Hopefully not, but yeah, it is a track where, due to the nature of it, sometimes. It invites drivers to be aggressive, and of course when you are aggressive for long enough, even though these guys have plenty of experience, sometimes you can go over the limits. Of course, it's just something that happens to everyone, and some calamity could come from that. So I'm not sure if Di Capua will be able to get a good result today due to that bad luck that has been following him. But for the podium, I would put Haddad in P1 as well. Beresnay, actually no, today I will put Beresnay winning the race, because I believe
I've
I,
already put him winning, so you have to pick something different.
no, I do not, because I think that if Beresnay starts in P2, he'll just conserve himself and wait for the last lap. The final two DRS zones are going to be crucial, a little bit like Bahrain, and we might have an immense battle again. Who knows? We might have a winner decided by 51 thousandths of a second again. So it's going to be interesting. But I do believe that Beresnay, if he gets P2 on quali, he will be able to just pressurize Haddad until the last lap when he finally pulls the trigger. I'm still betting on Lovece to finish P3, so I think he can achieve that today unless something happens again. But yeah, we are getting ready to things to kick off in qualifying. Just waiting a few moments longer. But yeah, of course, we have looking at our stats, Joanna. anyone you feel the need to point out before heading into this qualifying session?
Well, I've pointed out quite a few so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite curious to see what the Red Bulls will be able to do. They had a worse result, if I may say, in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them, well, no, sorry, I was confusing with the virus nail line on the table, but both of them were able to manage to grab some points so far this season, more than once. So let's see if they can manage to get some tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, we've seen some very good races from the Red Bulls, especially comes to mind Spa, where it was really a masterclass. Coming both drivers, they didn't get particularly good results in qualifying, but both of them managed to do a great job coming from the back. And yeah, they can do it. They can pull those off. It's interesting to see if I think maybe it's reassuring, right? Because even if you get something that doesn't go your way, showing that you have the capability of pulling off the reverse strategy and that you can progress through the grid, it might be a little comforting. Of course, it's never easy, but you have as well your capabilities to go back to if something doesn't go right in qualifying. So, what do you think about that perspective, Joanna?
Think we have quite a few impatient drivers in our lobby. Sorry, it was just blinking in front of my eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, can you please repeat? Sorry, this
No,
distracted me a bit.
I was saying that, yeah, I know the drivers are are spamming ready in the lobby at the moment. Um, I was questioning you about your perspective on the idea that on the topic of the Red Bulls, they've shown multiple times that they can get back. They've shown multiple times that it's hard being a Red Bull fan here in ORL because they do have their gut wrenching moments in qualifying. They do get quite intense in qualifying, but even if things go wrong, they've shown that they can get back up through the field. They've shown it multiple times. Do you think that could be maybe reassuring for them? Of course, it's never easy, but they've shown that they can do it multiple times.
Yes, I think that when you have two drivers that have shown that even if they have a bad qualifying session, they can just zarp through. Um, I feel there is so strong. You can't really be. I don't think it's difficult to be a fan of them. I think they're very good drivers, both of them. Well, all all of the grid really, but even considering the grid, they've been able to gain loads of positions. So yeah, two drivers that you have to pay attention to. But as you mentioned before, their sister brand, AlphaTauri, I think it's the one that it's harder to be a fan because they've been through a lot and they've proved time and time again that they can get good results, but it's just been a little out of their reach.
Yeah. Now, looking to other team, and we can look at Tiha's squad. They still have the 8 points, and I believe they got all of them at Spa. It was Napadovsky and Kodorningolo, if I recall correctly, the drivers for the American lineup, and I believe that's where they got the entirety of those 8 points. They both pulled off great performances. They haven't been able to do the best of jobs since then. They've also changed quite a bit of their driver lineup, and today, I do believe. Do we have confirmed to me, please, Joanna? But we do have a full debutee lineup for the Haas today, don't we?
For the Haas?
Yes,
For
it's
the Haas,
Hawks.
we'll have Ox and Jacob.
Yeah.
So for Ox, I know he switched recently to PC. He used to race on Xbox.
Mhm.
And Norbert Jacob, I'm really sorry, but I don't know him. So I'd say yes, it's the first time they're racing with us. In the
Yes.
meantime, I think our lobby is finally starting.
Yeah, we do have. Yeah, just to finish up, we do have that brand new lineup for the Haas. So, of course, they might be, or they might take advantage of some sort of surprise factor. So with that, we can get ourselves going with the with the track introduction, really, of course, and to the action of the qualifying session. It's going to be quite a good one this time around, I'm sure of that. But yeah, before that, let's get ourselves then to the Lone Star State. Let's get ourselves to the circuit of the Americas. Let's go to Austin and this 5.5 circuit or kilometer circuit, of course one that can throw a lot of traps off the drivers. Some of the curbs are very slippery. When we do have everything on this track, we can get the fast flowing sector 1, the more technical sector 3, and the long straights of sector number 2. Of course 2 DRS zones as well, and the drivers do need to have a very complete performance in order to achieve their results today. 20 corners as well on this track and a lap record of 1:36.766. Let's see what the drivers can achieve today in qualifying. Taking a look at the standings, it is Daniel Haddad in the lead with 118 points. Dani Bereznay is in P2 with 65 points. Following in third is Domenico Lovecchio with 52, 10 points above Patrick Cruti. Samuel Bean closes up the top 5. After that we have Istvan Puki with 36 points, 3 points ahead of the second Mercedes of Manolo Villar. Sven Zerner in the second best of the McLarens in P8 with 26 points, 1 above Alvaro Carreton, and Alessio Di Capo, the best qualified of the AlphaTauris, with 18 points. After that, looking at the constructors, we have the McLaren team with 91 points, followed by Mercedes with 75. After that we have Ferrari, then the Williams, and Red Bull completes the top 5 with 30 points, 1 point above AlphaTauri, as then we have Haas, Alpine, and Alfa Romeo. The last 3 teams unfortunately haven't been able to get on the double digits in terms of points scoring so far this season. And with that, we can get ourselves into the racetrack. Let's see how things are going then trackside. And as you can see, well, in a few moments, but as we can see, we have range runner, and quite a bit of it at the moment.
You're mentioning that the curbs could be quite slippery. Oh well, they're the most slippery they'll get. Quite a few drivers on the wet, some on the inter, so I'd say that maybe they're using the wet so they don't ruin all their inters yet. Or the other way around, it's for full wets and they're using the inters so they'll have the wets for their proper attempt. I'm not sure how the other qualifying sessions will go, weather regard, but curious to see some on the inters and some on the wets getting out of the pits.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do from here on in. Let's go on board with Sven Zerner then, as he can take us through a lap of this circuit. By the way, Joanna, just asking you, keep an eye out for chat, just for anything regarding the sound balance, because I did have to change some settings. But here we are then. No
indication so far regarding the sound, but quite a few people cheering for Dani Bereznay, as usual.
Yeah, of course. A bit of a faint favorite is the McLaren driver, but we are following the other driver of the McLaren team, the German Sven Zerner, as he gets now into turn number 3 and this very tricky slalom, turn 4, then turn 5, then the longer turn 6, before wrapping up sector number 1. And it does look like he's quite struggling. He's struggling quite a bit. He's laboring to get this McLaren through the first few corners, actually short shifting quite a lot to keep that rear stable. And I'm not sure, Joanna, if the full wet tires aren't actually the tire to be on at the moment. Istvan Puki has retired from the session, and I can tell that that is not due to a collision, so maybe he's just planning on starting from last due to the rain conditions. I'm not sure, but we might be on the cards for another recovery drive for the Red Bull squad. In the meantime, Sven Turner just gets to sector number 3. And let's see how that one goes. It's a very tricky one, very technical. Morishon there getting out of the way in the Alpine, so no problems there. I also believe, unless the energy recovery is quite efficient on this track, I think Sven Zerner is actually not using much of his battery charge, because it is currently at over 80%, I can see on his steering wheel. So looks like he's just going out there and trying to feel where the grip is. Darn crosses the line with a 149.0. Zerner beats him by a second and 2/10 there or thereabouts. The pack is chasing that 147.8 for the time being. And Patrick Kruti is one of the next drivers. Yes, exactly, he was on Inters. Darn put his lap on the full wets. Patrick Kruti is crossing over the line on a lap on his full wets as well as the Williams of Nardi Perez on the intermediates. And Patrick Kruti actually just goes about 20 thousandths of a second slower than him. So we are really on the changeover point. That's what I'm getting from this, unless Nardi wasn't pushing or the conditions are really for full wets. Nardi Perez and Kruti just did similar times, so that's interesting because it is raining quite a lot here at Kota. It does remind me of, what was it, the 2015 real life Grand Prix, where we actually had like a monsoon warning or a typhoon warning, something like that, and the race was held under very tricky conditions. So what do we have to say about the performances of the drivers so far on these treacherous conditions?
As I mentioned before, I'm quite curious what will happen, how the weather will be in qualifying to see if people, if the drivers are just saving the other compound or not. In the meantime, we have Daniel Haddad jumping to P1 on a wet tire, 146.899, so probably still for wet tires at the moment. You mentioned before Istvan Puki retiring from the session. That is not due to any incident, that is just a quali he will have to serve during tonight's race.
Okay, so in the meantime we have, I believe it's Zelenkovic? No, it's the Alpine of Morishon, exactly, it's Morishon getting through the line. 149.010, gets himself P5 for the time being. We also have Manolo Villar about, well, he just came out of the pit, so it's Kruti who pulls off into the pits at the end of his lap. We have Hawks on his first attempt at a flying lap. We'll see in the moments to come what he is able to achieve. And we also have Dani Perezna in the third sector about to wrap up his outlap. But I do actually believe that Graf is trolling us, because I believe he is on a flyer. We'll wait just a few moments to see if that graphic is trolling me or not. And he's coming over the line now. No, he's actually just starting his flying lap. I could have sworn he had done an outlap and the game was trolling me. Nonetheless, we have Ben Szabo completing his lap. Unfortunately, it is invalidated, but you can still see what lap time he is about to achieve. Behind him is Samuel Bean, 152.2, so he definitely lifted off the throttle. Samuel Bean pulls off into the pits. Daniel Haddad might be about to do the same. No, he's actually going for a second lap on those full wets. Let's see, can he make an even stronger lap? No, he actually used this as a cooldown lap, perhaps, as he went with a 1 minute 56 lap time, so not exactly ideal from him. In the meantime, we have Modesto Mena, who is actually slowing down. He's off the circuits. He's probably looking to pull off into the pits. Just didn't want to get in the way of anyone else. Manolo Villar also just about to start a lap of his own. Lovece behind him, also on the end of an out lap. Zelenkovic in the meantime got himself P6 on his Williams. And I believe the first driver on a flying lap at the moment would be Hawks, about to close out his lap, Joanna.
I've been on board with him, but he invalidates the second you say his name. Quite unfortunate for the Haas driver. Behind him, I think it's Luxmith starting a lap, so no time yet. And behind the other Haas, also on a hot lap, on a out lap, sorry, so starting his flying lap. Behind them, we have the McLaren of Beresnay finishing his lap.
Exactly. Let's see what he can achieve. He's also on the full wet, so that looks like it is the tire to be on at the moment. Ooh, bit of squirmy rear end, but that didn't stop him from getting provisory pole. 146.5 for the Brackley-based machine. Sorry, the Woking-based machine, and he gets himself on the top of the standings at the moment. Ben Szabo also crossing over the line. Can we have an answer from Milton Keynes? Not good enough, about just over 2/10 off of Bereznai's pace. And we have Samuel Bean is in the pit, so that is Daniel Yadar trying to answer the Hungarian, and so well he does. 146.531, and he answers right back. Retains pole position for now, Joanna.
Quite a few drivers missing their attempts, so we only have slightly more than half of the grid with times so far, and some of them not really competitive comparing to the best time. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Something
I was
happened.
trying to understand. We still have Dario and Domenico, two drivers that have been doing really good qualifying sessions, but they aren't. They haven't yet put a time. I think Dario Yemlu is finishing his attempt, going a bit wide, but managing not to invalidate the lap. But it's a 1:47.772. Pretty sure he will be able to improve on that time and maybe right away.
Exactly. Let's see. In the meantime, we have... Is it Nardi Perez? I keep on getting mixed up for those shades of blue. It's Luke Smith
No,
in the Alpine getting through the
he has
line.
abandoned his lap. He has abandoned his lap.
Yeah, 155.2, so he's going to take another crack at it.
He missed the exit of the airpin and decided to go for another attempt.
Okay, let's see then how the remainder of the session goes. We still have just above 6 minutes left in this qualifying session. Ben Szabo got his lap invalidated and is pulling off into the pits. On track, there is Samuel Bean. At the moment, just completing his out lap. We also have Daniel Haddad, who's probably pulling off into the pits. Yes, he is. But we have as well Zelenkovic getting himself and his Williams on provisory pole. The only driver so far to get into the 145s. And look at that. It's on a set of Pirelli Cinturato greens. It's a set of intermediates. They might be the tire to be on finally, Joanna.
Yeah, especially considering that it was his third lap on those tires. So let's see what the drivers on the wets can achieve. It might just be the track improving, but not yet for intermediates. I have the graphic showing me a purple sector, a second sector for Luke Smith. So it might be just the usual bug, or well, it won't definitely be a fastest lap the way he's drifting. But yeah. Might be on the crossing points, or no, it's definitely for Inters. The way he's losing the car, it's definitely for Inters at the moment.
Also Honhar, I've been on board with the Haas and is doing his best to keep the car under control, but it really wants to go into a wall. So much so that he actually almost missed his pit entry, because he was completely out of control there. And yes, the intermediates are the tire to be on at the moment, for sure. Darn is on the intermediates and is halfway through his lap. We also have Rookie, is a bit further up the field, so we'll follow with the Ferrari for a little bit. Samuel Bean just
and have Zelenkovic ahead of him.
Zelenkovic, I'm not sure if Zelenkovic will...
He was going to finish the lap, but he validated on the second to last corner and returned to the pits after that.
Yeah, exactly. So we have Rookie. After that, we have Darn, I believe. So let's see what they can achieve. Rookie pulls off into the pits. Darn getting through corner number 19. Let's see what he can achieve then. He does opt to complete the lap. He has a 49.0 to beat. Gets P2. 46.3. Good lap from him. 4/10 off of Zelenkovic, but... nonetheless, solid lap from him. He still has time to improve on that, though. We have both McLarens on the track at the moment, but both of them are just completing their out laps. Behind them, I believe it's been...
Di Cappa.
Sorry?
Alessio Di Cappa.
His Capua Bean is ahead of him on track, but he has
Yeah, but it's
invalidated.
invalidated.
So yeah, we are going to follow Alessio. Let's see what he can achieve. I believe he was improving at the end of sector number 2. Trying to do better than the 147.3 currently is in at the moment. Let's not forget, we have a Q3, or sorry, 3 qualifying sessions. So the weather can evolve rather rapidly. And the drivers just don't have the sets of tires, especially wet sets of tires, to just spend continuously on lots of attempts. So they need to adapt quickly to the conditions. 44.5 for the Italian gets him on the top spot. Nardi Perez P2 and Bean just started his lap. Who? That is Haddad. Okay, I thought that was Bean. That is Haddad just starting his lap. After that, we have Lovece also completing his outlap. We have Prati Kruti just started his lap, just like Manolo Villar, who's now on the start-finish straight. He's going to set a lap time. P2 for him with a 45.2. Behind him, we have Ben Sabo completing a lap. We also have Diaz of Ox and Ronhard. And we have Darn on another set of intermediates. Brings himself up to P4. Half a second improvement. The track is getting much faster very rapidly, Joanna.
Yep. The times certainly are showing that. Just a minute ago we were saying that Zelenkovic was in P1 with 4 or 5 tenths of distance to the P2, so definitely improving very much. Alessio Di Capo is taking another 4 tenths or almost 5 tenths out of his previous attempt, which is the first time on our table, but not anymore, as Danny Beresnay just puts a 143.926. Quite curious to see how much will they be able to take off these times yet. But we except for Zelenkovic and El Ruki at this moment, we have all our drivers putting some times at the moment.
Yeah, Samuel Bean gets himself P2. After that, we have Di Capo getting himself P1 with a 43.8. A lot of drivers could be caught out by these changing conditions. Daniel Haddad is up next to try to get out of the bottom of the field. He gets himself P2. After that, we have Manolo Villar. He has dropped down to P8. He actually was beaten by Kruti, who improves to P5. We have Lovece and Rookie completing their lap times. Lovece gets provisory pole. Manolo Villar gets P5. And we have Yemulo now answering with the P6. After that, we have Ben Zapo. Let's see, can he improve on that 14th spot? His lap is invalidated. Fortunately, he has time to still do something about it. Modesto Mena is still in the second sector, so it is Darn. At the moment, he crosses over the line. Can't go above P11. He gets beaten by Ox, who gets P10. Modesto Mena is about to complete his lap. Let's see what he can achieve. I believe there are a few cars still ahead of him, including Thomas Ronhard. He's crossing over the line at the moment. Gets himself P2 with a 43.8. Modesto Mena, is his time now? Oh, he invalidates his lap. And it is not safe. I'm not sure. Is he still on time to grab another lap time? Yes, he is right on the thick of it. He manages to grab a place. Sven Zerner is crossing the line behind Beresnay, who reinforces his pole, provisory pole, and Sven Zerner gets into P8. And this will be a case of who is the latest to do their lifetime, because the track is evolving. Zelenkovic gets into P2 with a 43.3. Behind him looks like it's one of the AlphaTauris, but he pulls off into the pits. It was Alessio. Samuel Bean coming through now the last few corners. Daniel Haddad is going to cross the line before him though. Let's see what he can achieve. He's not pulling off into the pits. The number 92 of the Silverstone based machine is coming over the line. 142.8 for him. Grabs the top spot for the time being. Luke Smith grabs P6. Let's see how it goes for Lovece and the other Ferrari. They both go off into the pit lane. Rookie actually grabs P10 there, I'm sorry. But we have A lot of cars on the track. Bezaba is now with a chance of getting eliminated. Can he improve on that 46.7? He's crossing the line now, and yes he does. Gets P5 for him. Modesto Mena, he has an off and he's going to get eliminated. Darn is also eliminated. Hawks grabs himself P14. Could he still get relegated though? Morichon is right behind him and he's crossing over the line any moment from now. He's improving by over a second. Grabs 15th for his efforts. Now here comes his teammate, and I believe that's Zelenkovic, but he has also crossed the line. It was Luke Smith. Luke Smith grabs P2. Fortunately, that didn't send his teammate into the back of the pack, didn't send him into elimination, and there you have it. As we have Luke Smith in a P2, and it's pole position for, was it Arad? At least at the end of this Q1.
Oh,
Yes, it was Arad.
Well, my top 3 is correct. That's all I'm going to say.
We have 2 qualifying sessions left, so let's
I'm going to ignore that detail.
Let's hold your horses on that one for the time being. But it was an exciting last few moments with the track improvements.
Just let me leave a word to Domenico, Patrick, Dario, Manolo, and our and Zelenkovic and Ox, who are either racing with the Ukrainian flag or with the world flag. Considering everything that has been happening, of course, we drivers are not warriors in that sense, most of us at least, but showing our support in the way we know, and our drivers doing the same.
Yeah, exactly. So let's proceed then to the second session of qualifying, and it is still raining. Of course, the conditions have eased up quite a bit. Will we have dry tires utilized by Q3? That's what I would like to see. Of course, we have 15 minutes. The weather can change quite rapidly here in F1 2021. So we'll see how things work. Patrick Kruti, I believe, is the first driver to get out there. Yes, he is. He's the first driver to get out on track after getting through to Q2. And he's on a set of intermediates. I am not sure, though, if those are brand new intermediates or not. I would bet on them not being brand new. But we'll have to wait and see what performances they can pull off. And, of course, how the weather progresses throughout the session. Joanna, while we wait for the first times to come in, what do we have to say regarding our chats? Everything alright? Their fan favorite is still, of course, plenty in the fight for pole.
To be honest, I don't understand Hungarian, and I apologize for that, because I'm the polyglot of the booth, but I do not understand Hungarian, so I cannot really follow some of the commentaries, but definitely some Berezhnay mentioning and Dani mentioning in the middle of Hungarian, so still the same support for our McLaren driver.
Well, to be honest, they could be bashing him, and we wouldn't know. So at least they are mentioning him in chat. We hope it's for positive reasons. So we'll hold on to that idea for the time being.
I like to keep it positive.
Yeah, exactly. So moving from Hungary to Poland, we have Patrick Kruti about to start his lap, and we're going on board with him for this first lap of qualifying, trying to take it easy through the last corner just to be able to go on the throttle as early as you can to maximize speed into turn 1. The uphill makes it easier for you to brake as late as you dare. It's also quite wide, but the apex is blind, so you really need to have confidence entering turn 1. A bit of a lockup for the Mercedes driver as you now go downhill into turn 2, now to the slalom of turn 3, 4, 5, then the long turn number 6. You need to compromise the exit angle of this one to get a better run into turn 7 as you wrap up sector number 1. Then you get into turn 8 and 9, very difficult, and then the kink, left-hand kink of turn number 10. Hard on the brakes now into turn number 11 at about 100 meters away from him. Clip the apex nicely, early on the power, as much as you there. Lots of short shifting there for the pole as he goes up to the gears. Of course, DRS is not available in the wet conditions, but this would be the second DRS zone of the lap. Hard on the brakes into the 100-meter marker. Lots of lockup. We could hear the screaming of these fronts into turn number 11. Now a complete sector number 2. Let's see what he can achieve from here on in. Now in this much sector, much tighter, much twistier as well, much more technical sector number 3. Now you can basically do the reverse of turn 8 from Turkey. You need to be very careful in the wet about your power placement as well. Open up the angle for turn number 19. Utilize as much as you can of the curbs. Repeat the process a bit slower though for corner number 20. He's crossing over the line now and he gets himself first place with a 44.0. Luke Smith will be the next driver to try and take that lap time. Alessio Di Capua gets a 43.5. Luke Smith beats that mark with a 43.3. We have now Beresna. No, it's Zerner who gets a 44.4. And it is Villar getting himself past his teammate with a 43.7. We have Diaz of Hawks. Sorry, no, that was actually Ronhard. Gets himself a 43.7 as well. Not too far above Villar on the table. And we have Dario Yamulo. What will he be able to achieve in this first attempt? Coming over the line in a few moments. And he gets P6, 44.085, similar lap time to Kruti. Dani Beresna is now finally getting through the line. And after him is Ben Sazabo. Beresna gets the top spot for the time being. After that, it's Ben Sazabo gets P9. Luke Smith is... sorry, no, that wasn't... That was Morichon. Yeah, that was Morichon. Then Lovece gets the top spot. And Haddad answers, but not good enough of an answer. P2 for Haddad. Rookie gets himself a 44.111. And now it's Hawks. Another debutee for today grabs P11 from Sven Zerner with a 44.3. Lots of lap times getting posted in a hurry. Joanna, what do we make up of all of this?
Yeah, let's see if the track keeps improving as in qualifying session number 1. If it is improving, we might... I'm not sure if we'll get to the slicks on this qualifying session. Maybe for Q3, but we'll definitely get faster times on the board. I think that even if it rains on the race, they don't have to start with these tires, so that's definitely a plus for the drivers. They don't have to worry about the where they put it, at least for the beginning of the race. Of course, if it will be, I have no idea how it's going to be on the race, but if it's going to rain the whole race, then of course they shouldn't put as much wear on those tires, especially because they can't take the best of those tires if they are with the higher level of degradation. In the meantime, we have all our drivers except for Zelenkovic with the time on the board. We have quite a few different, quite a gap between first and 14th. So I'm sure we'll have improvements coming up. In the meantime, I think it's one of the McLarens crossing the line.
Yes, I
Beresnay.
apologize. I had to pause there for a second. Beresnay it does improve to a 43.010, I believe. His teammate is currently in sector number 3. He also needs to improve if he wants to get into the top 10 shootouts. He needs to improve on that 44.4 at the moment. Let's see how that one goes for him as he gets through this very long quick right-hander. It's a tricky one, especially in these conditions. But Joanna, I feel like we might have the dry tires on at the end of the session.
Yeah, Luke Smith just abandoned those inters and got into the pits after doing another slide, and that was our cue for the intermediate switch. So I'm pretty sure that we will see some slicks getting prepared, and we already have on the box. Domenico Lovetti and the Hawks just put some soft tires on, so we'll soon have them on track with those tires.
Yeah, exactly. So going to
I'm not
yes.
sure, but since the session started with intermediate tires, will they have to start the race on those?
Um, no. If it rains, even if the race start is in the
No, I'm saying if it's dry and they put a time on dries.
oh, they still have, yeah. If the race, I believe that if the race starts in dry conditions and the driver still adds to go on the dry tires for qualifying, I believe they are still
I think they'll be
forced to go
fine
on these
because
tires.
it at least in real life, if it's declared a
A wet
wet
session,
session,
yeah.
they don't have that rule. Well, we won't have that rule on real life from what I've read
Yeah,
from this season, so it might simplify things for poor us commentators from now on.
no, but I'm not sure if the game takes that into account. If he has that definition of what is a wet session or a dry session or a mixed session, if there is something like that. So I do believe that if the drivers post a lap time on the dries, that's all it takes for them to be forced to start on those set of tires um, for the race. So unless it rains for the beginning of the race. Nonetheless, we already have some action out there on the track. Still drivers on the intermediates though. We have Patrick Ruti going out there on the intermediates. Most drivers, as we can see
The
from
second
the...
sector.
Sorry, what?
Closing up the second sector, of course, improving by half a second on his previous time. But well, we have Ox going for the medium compound, so it
Yes.
might either he isn't sure or it might really pay attention to what the drivers will fit in now.
Yeah, I think he's just saving tires. I think he's just going for mediums for a lap and then bolt on a set of softs. Kruti,
Well,
he was
it's not.
improving quite a lot because DRS is enabled, so he gained a lot of time on that start-finish on both DRS zones. But yeah, I think I'm not
I
sure.
don't think. I don't think they'll go for 2 attempts.
Yeah, I also don't
It's a
think
long
either.
track.
Yeah, yeah. Now I
One
thought
shot
that he was.
qualify.
No, I thought that he was already out there on the track on the mediums, but no, he was still in the pit lane. Manolo Villar, he has mediums selected, so let's see if he's actually trying to get into Q3 on the mediums. But we already have some action in the McLaren pit lane. Was that Sven Zerner? Let's find out in a moment. Yes, it was. It was the German, and he goes out there on a set of softs, but he needs. This is not a one-shot qualifier. For one simple reason, because the track is
What?
evolving, the drivers will need to have fuel to post continuous laps, and whoever gets the lap time latest in the session will be the driver to get the quickest lap time. One of those
In
cases,
those conditions.
just like the end of Q1, whoever starts their lap the latest will have an advantage, I would say. So I really don't believe they have to just pump out continuous laps. What do you think about that?
Maybe 2 shots, but I'm pretty confident that the drivers won't be pushing as hard on the first one. So, in my mind, it's still a one-shot qualifying because they'll be giving it everything only on the last, as they know that anything they put before will not really make a difference.
Well,
I'm really curious. Manolo has changed. No, come on. I'm really
Manolo,
curious to see what gets out of that Mercedes box.
yeah, we cannot see too much of the action. Mohichan actually went on full wets, but I don't think he'll be on those for too much longer.
And
And
BenQ also going for the mediums.
that's Capua, I believe, coming out of the pits now. Let's make sure of that. No, it's actually Yemulo?
Gemolo.
Yeah, it's Yemulo. In the meantime, let's get back to Sven Zerner, as he will be the first one to get the lap time. And he is a
We also have
driver.
Ox.
He is a driver who's had quite a lot of, unfortunately, inconsistency in this championship. Isn't that right, Rana?
He started quite well with two position points paying positions on the first two races with the seventh spot and the sixth. But then he didn't manage to get any points in the Netherlands, which is quite ironic because it's quite close to his country. And then Bahrain, he wasn't able to show up. Japan, I'm not sure if it was a DNF or just end of the grid with an 18th. So yeah, Sven needs to get back on track and do a good lap. Well, do a multiple of good laps, really, and finish the race in a good position.
Yeah.
But as we've mentioned plenty of times, so many good drivers. It's a question of where and when you do it.
Yeah, well, of course, Zerner. I believe at Japan, I believe he was the driver who had a crash at the Degnas and was out after a collision with
That
the wall.
caused
If I
the safety car.
Yeah, I believe that was him. And also at Zandvoort, he had plenty of connection issues, or at least he wasn't able to have any stability within the game. So that's why, unfortunately, he didn't have anything going for him. Oh, this could be troubling, because he's on a lap and everyone is in his queue ahead of him. This could be very troubling for him. Yes, there's yellow flags ahead. Villard needs to get out of the way, and this is a mess. This is an absolute mess. There's a collision with Zelenkovic, and they're both out of a possibility. There's a 5-place grid penalty for a rookie for a collision as well, and all has kicked up. Oh my god, what has just happened? Everyone was in a queue very slowly trying to get their laps going, but Zerner, he was just going full beans because he was trying to qualify. And oh, that's just so unfortunate. Such a mess. That's really, really unfortunate for him.
The worst part is that he doesn't have a front wing to make a second attempt.
Yeah, exactly. This reminds me of the Formula 2 incident between Mick Schumacher
And the IndyCar incident on practice. We had
Yeah.
Grosjean crashing into Sato in quite a similar fashion just yesterday.
Yeah, Grosjean just clobbered Takuma Sato in practice a couple days ago, actually. Nonetheless, we have Yamulo coming through the line now, and it would be the man to beat, I assume, after completing his lap. It's a 32.4. After that, we have Hawk. Let's see what he can achieve. P2 for him, 32.6. After that, we have Lovece. He gets himself 31. Then it's the couple goes into the pits. After that, we have Zelenkovic, perhaps. No, that's actually his teammate. Dani Berezna is coming through the line now. Gets P1 with the 31.4. We have then Daniel Haddad. Not good enough of a lap time there. Luke Smith grabs P4 from him. Ben Zabo gets P8. And now we are going to have Ronari in P7 and Zelenkovic in P12. So a lot of drivers getting their last attempt. And Joanna, it was really a one-shot qualifying. And Berezna proceeds into Q3 on the lead of the table.
Well, a one-shot qualifying where you can't really prepare your only attempt because you were in that huge mess that completely destroyed Zerner's chances. He will start from P13. Bit unfortunate. The driver he collided with, Zelenkovic, is also out in qualifying session number 2. But yeah, I'm not sure if we can really blame Zelenkovic. It was so many cars. Where was he going to go?
Well, it's a mixed bag because I was on board with Zerner, and Zerner was going for the last lap. Zelenkovic pulled to the right. He was on the left side of the track, so it looked like he was going to let him through, but then last moment he turns into the right as well, into his spot. But even if Zelenkovic didn't have anything to do with it, Zerner would always collide with, I believe it was Rookie. He managed to collide with him anyways, and it's a 5-place grid penalty for Rookie. So just a huge mess, just not the greatest place to be there in that chaos for any of those drivers. Just wrong place at the wrong time. Rookie needs to book it in this third qualifying session, because he's going to need it to mitigate the damage from that 5-place grid penalty.
So it can be a P12 for Zerner at the end if Rookie doesn't have a good third qualifying session. Let's see, because it won't be easy for him to just grab P1 and okay, I'll start from P6. No, he has really good drivers ahead of him. Of course, he's also a very good driver. That's not the point here. But it will be very difficult. Nice to see Domenico Lovecchio fighting for the top positions. But as we mentioned, it was quite an atypical qualifying session, with most of it not really making a difference for the result we had on the qualifying session.
Exactly. So, just going to have to wait and see how things turn out from here on in. And sorry for that, just getting a few notifications, but just getting through with our procedure with our loading procedure to get into Q3. Let's see how that one turns out, because it's going to be an exciting one. I don't think it will be rain affected, despite it being quite threatening in terms of the volume of cloud coverage over the circuit of the Americas. Nonetheless, you have Perez, Smith, Rookie, Yamulo, Lovece, Hawks, Ronhar, Kruti, Adar, and Ben Zabo, all in the top 10 shootout. I might be actually correct with what I said about the Haas before starting qualifying session. They are both in the top 10. Last time out, we got both Haas in the top 10. The last time we had both Haas in the top 10 at the end of qualifying, both had a very good performance at Spa. We could have a repeat today. Haas could get a solid amount of points by the end of all this. Lovece is the first car out there on the track. And we are going to get ready in a few moments for these drivers to, of course, use all of their sets of tires, I would suppose, because they can do that because they saved a lot of dry compounds, or a lot of dry compound sets of tires throughout the first qualifying sessions because of the rain. So now they can go all out in multiple attempts. The track is clear, right? Not as populated as before, so we could have plenty of action in this qualifying session, and we can go on board then with Lovece, as he is the first one to get his lap. Patrick Kruti is coming out of the pits at the moment. His teammate, I believe it is Mena, was knocked out in Q1 with the P11. Sorry.
Okay.
What
No, I was thinking you were going to say that Mena was on track, and I was going to say no, there's no way.
Yeah, he got eliminated
Sorry.
in Q2. He got eliminated. Ben Zabo, as Lovece pulls off into the pits again, it is Ben Zabo who's going to start the lap once again. This time due to a qualifying ban. It's Ben Zabo alone in Q3, while the other Red Bull is starting from the back. Let's see what he can achieve. At the moment.
He has got us used to very good recovery drives, so
Yes.
we are just expecting one more. So no pressure, Istvan, because you have gotten us used to your fantastic recovery drives. In the meantime, we have BenQ finishing up on the first sector. Of course, it was a purple one. He's the first one on this session. Let's see what kind of time he'll be able to put as a reference for the others. But yes, he is the Red Bull driver. He's the only one on the flying lap. And we have still one of the Ferraris, and so El Rookie and Yemulo still on the pits, leaving it to quite a bit late, especially El Rookie.
So let's see what Ben Zabo does, getting through this very fast double left-hand, right-hander actually, before, of course, the exit of turn 18. Now 19 ends the last corner. Number 20 is going to get over the line and is going to grab himself a 31-0 for the first time to be posted. After that, we have Patrick Kruti. And after him, I believe it's Thomas Van Haar closing a lap of his own. So let's see how that one develops. Kruti gets purple in the first sector. Let's see what he can achieve in sector 2. Ronar is the next driver starting a flying lap. After him is Bereznai, and then it's Hawk. Patrick Kruti now in the second DRS zone. He who got P7 last time out, which is actually, I believe it's one of the worst finishing positions of the season for him. I believe it is bottom 2 worst finishing positions for him. Joanna, you can confirm to me in a second. But we have Patrick Kruti purple in sector 2 as well, if F1 2021 is to be trusted. Let's see what Kruti does then. To corner 7.
Finished P8 and his worst result was a P9 in Netherlands.
Yeah.
Then he has a P5, a P6 and the second place in Belgium.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh, Kruti goes wide at the last corner, does not invalidate, grabs provisory pole. After that, it's about Ronhard. Purple at the end of sector 2 again. It's a common visual glitch, but so I'm not sure to trust that or not. I would say that
it used to be only on the second sector. Now it's on the first and on the second.
Yeah,
so instead of fixing it, they added one more.
Yeah, no, I believe that when they get in the first sector, it's actually true, but
it's not.
It's not actually. Okay.
I've got it purple not being the first and being very much slower than other people on the lobby.
Okay, so let's see now what Bereznai does. Thomas Van Haar with a 130.8. Not too far off provisory pole. Bereznai on top with a 130.5. It's Hawk's time now. But unfortunately, he invalidated his attempt. Daniel Yadar is next to come through. Let's see what he does.
And we have Domenico Lovece.
And he gets 31.4. It's Lovece now with his answer. Will he be able to make a charge on the top spot? P4 for him. So close to Kruti's lap time. We have Dario Yemolo now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and
well, he did.
Yeah, he goes.
I said go ahead, and he did.
He did go ahead and utilized a lot.
I didn't mean it to you, Dario.
Luke Smith has invalidated. Patrick Kruti is bringing his car into the pits. So now it's Rookie completing his lap time now. Let's see what the number 21 Ferrari can achieve. Crossing over the line. P7 with a 30.9. Going to follow Hawk for this lap. I'm not sure. Oh, invalidated again. So that's unfortunate. I'm just going to keep it with Luke Smith. Another one of our debutees. I believe it's actually 3 debutees today. Maybe more. But 3 I know for sure. Smith and both us are making their debut. Let's see what the number 15 can achieve then. As he gets well into sector number 2. Let's go on board with him. No, he's actually lifting off the throttle, so he's probably going into the pit lane at the end of this lap. So we don't have too much action, I would say, at the moment.
That looks Smith.
He was lifting off quite a lot. So.
He was okay. So then, Yemelo.
Yemelo is still out there on the track. I'm not sure if he's going to the pits. I believe he's going to the pits. Yeah, he was recovering battery as well. So he's pulling off into the pits. Yeah, everyone is going into the pits, which is understandable. Of course,
it's that time to prepare the last attempt, the true one-shot qualifying attempt, the last one, the one that will be defining the positions for the start of the race, except of course for El Rookie that will have a 5 place penalty on the grid after the result he gets.
Exactly. So he really needs to go above and beyond the Ferrari driver. Not sure if he's going to be able to still start in the top 10. So for that he would have to get top 5. I don't think he has achieved that in any race or any qualifying session this season. So he would really need to go above his limits in order to achieve that. Danny Bereznai is the first driver to go out there on this, what I believe is the last attempt. Patrick Crutty right behind him. We're going to have to wait and see how things develop. Just a bit of a calm before the storm. And Joanna, the gaps aren't as tight as we've seen in other qualifying sessions.
So far.
But yes,
but it's normal. Unless you count Spa, I think this is the second longest we've had so far.
The second longest track, right?
Yeah. In time. I mean, I'm not counting kilometers. I'm counting
in terms of lap time.
how long it takes to do a lap.
Yeah. Well, of course, how long it takes to do a lap probably correlates with the length of the lap itself. Nonetheless,
not really. If you count Hungary, it's quite a slow track, or Monaco.
Yeah, but of course, Hungary is not really in any of the extremes in terms of track length as well. So yes, it takes Monaco a bit longer. Monaco is the second shortest track after Austria.
The shortest.
Perhaps it's the shortest. But yeah, it's a very slow track, so that's why. But those are the outliers, I would say.
Nonetheless, well, if you consider medium velocity during a lap, then you have Monza, of course.
Yeah. Well, let's go then for the last few attempts for the drivers. Bereznai is the first one to open up with the affairs. And let's see what lap time he can achieve in this sector number 1. Let's actually go on board with him. You can see how much curb he takes through this slalom. Wraps up sector 1 with about almost 2/10 of an improvement. Nicely done turn through turn 7 and 8, utilizing the full width of the track, using a lot of curb on the left-hand kink there before the braking zone into turn number 10. Clipping the apex quite nicely there. Hard on the power as well, soon on the power to maximize the speed all the way down into this braking zone. A bit tricky, it is a downhill braking zone and you are carrying a lot of speed, so a lot of weight of the car is in the front tires, so you tend to run the risk of locking up. He's still improving. He did lose a little bit to his own personal best through the second sector, but now much twistier sector number 3. Now here he comes now to turn 17 and 18. Compromise the exit to get a better angle for turn 19. Commits to it. Full beans are sent through turn number 19. And now turn number 20. Early on the power. 130.3 is our pole position for the time being. Crutty right behind him will be able to answer. No, he does not improve on his lap time. It's Ben Zabo now. Is improving by just over 10.5 according to the live timing. Will this be true by the end of this 5.5 kilometer lap? Let's see what the Hungarian is capable of achieving. After that, I believe, is a rookie on the track right behind the Red Bull. The Red Bull crosses the line. It's P4 with a 37.09. So let's see if it is... No, it's Lovece. After that, it is Hawks, I believe. Let's see what Lovece does. Grabs himself pole position for now. Hawks has his answer. P9, rookie. He has invalidated.
Wait for Luke Smith.
Luke Smith comes now in P4 and now Haddad.
He's not improving at that comparing to Luke. But he's already ahead, so... he managed to get P3. I was comparing the times of those two during their laps. I'm pretty sure that Luke must have messed up his third sector because he was coming like I'm not sure what to compare him to. He was really fast. Um, um, but yeah, it's P5 for him. Domenico Lovetti grabbing the pole position. I had better on him last week, and Beresnay and Haddad, I'm 1 week ahead, it seems. So Beresnay P2, Haddad P3, Dario Yamalo P4, Luke Smith P5, Thomas Bronhart P6. Very good qualifying session from him. Ben Cesabo P7, El Huki P8, El Huki P9 after the 5 positions, I believe, and Ox P10.
Yeah,
Oh
Huki will
no,
start
before,
14th.
before.
Yeah, Huki will
Yeah, he will
start
start
14th.
14 and so Sven
But yeah, we
will start
we
P12.
have Lovecchio with that 30.277 as he grabs our Mobiuz pole position. Of course, brought by Mobiuz and their new EX3410R monitor, the monitor of champions, proven by that pole position from Lovecchio. Great job from him. Looks like both of our bets are incorrect in terms of the qualifying, Joanna. Lovecchio
Who was your third
starts
driver?
on pole. It was Lovecchio in P3 for me. I was betting on Haddad, Beresnay, Lovecchio, and then
So
Di
you
Capua.
so you take it. You take it. You got the 3 drivers right.
I did get the 3 drivers right, but not the order. And then I bet on P4 for Di Capua. I got the AlphaTauri correct, didn't get the driver though. So I'll take it. I'll take it. The skies are much healthier over the circuit of the Americas compared to their, of course, version of themselves, if I can say that, during qualifying. Much more threatening during qualifying. There's still quite a few clouds in the distance, but I do not believe they will be deploying any sort of rain anytime soon. Of course, in the second half of the race, things might change. We just have our drivers, of course, getting their procedures finalized in terms of adjustments to the setup or in terms of their strategies overall. Of course, they probably need to change some factors in the setup because they need to adjust from the wet qualifying to a dry race. So it's an interesting moment, of course. So a lot of chaos, a lot of preparation. Some of it goes out the window when you have mixed conditions race weekend. Let's see who has actually maybe qualified in the top 10 because they were betting in the rain and of course adjusted their setups for the rain and were actually able to capitalize due to the mixed conditions. Of course, that means they lost out a little bit in Q3 and they might lose out a little bit in the race. So a lot of interesting stuff can happen. And let's take a look then at the tires the field will deploy, and quite a healthy mix between the softs and the mediums, Joanna.
Very interesting to see. Only Bence opting for the medium on well, and Manolo on the top 10, but Manolo would always he was P11 on the qualifying session. He got 1 position up because of El Huki, just like Alessio, Sven, Zarenkiewicz did. So quite curious to see
Yeah, of course.
how the medium runners will be at the end of the race too.
Yeah, of course. If we can extract any sort of pattern from the last few races, these medium runners, they've been able consistently to keep up using DRS to keep up with the soft starters and then grab a few spots from them. They haven't been able to beat Beresnay and Haddad, despite Beresnay and Haddad always starting in the quote-unquote regular strategy. Those reverse strategy runners, despite having that advantage, because they are not losing time to the front because they are keeping up with the soft runners due to the DRS and the slipstream, but then they cannot capitalize on that advantage later on the race to grab enough positions to challenge for the win, or at least they haven't been able to take the win. so far. It has been either Bereznai or Haddad. Lovece, I don't believe it's the first pole position for the Ferrari driver, but he hasn't been able to convert it into a win yet, so hopefully this could be the day he does exactly that. He was in the thick of it for a long time at Japan, and he actually got P3 for his efforts. Could he get the top spot today? Of course, Bereznai wants to reduce the gap to the championship leader Haddad, and Haddad will be looking to extend it, so a lot of conflicting interests at the moment. Modesto Mena starting last place on the softs, the number 88. Let's see how much of a recovery drive can he pull off. He's on his grid mark, attributed by him through his qualifying performance, and there we have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the United States Grand Prix. Good start from everyone in the top 5. We have Luke Smith looking at the inside just like Yemulo, who now goes to the middle of the track. It's Lovece and Bereznai already sharing P1. Haddad gets the... well, he doesn't get the best of him, but he does get the inside line on Lovece. Couldn't convert it into a P2. Luke Smith looks like he goes wide. He's in a battle with Rodar for P5, but looks like that sorted itself out. There's Manolo Villar in a battle with Ben Sabas. They're side by side into the slalom. There's also Zelenkovic battling with Samuel Bean, but that's Bean getting the best end of the deal there. Ben Sabo challenging Sven Zerner, can't quite get the move done, has to settle for P9 for the time being, and Zerner is now the leader of the medium runners with an immense start from P12. He's already in P8. Bereznai leads from Lovece, from Haddad, then Smith, Ronar, Krutiok, Zerner and Coney, with Manolo Villar closing the top 10. Samuel Bean is all over the back of him at the moment. Let's see how it goes now into turn number 11. Daniel Haddad is challenging Luke Smith. Sorry, Luke Smith is challenging our championship leader. Goes a bit wide, and Luke Smith grabs P3. It's not done just yet as we get into turns 14 and 15. It's Luke Smith. Oh, but Ronard tries to surprise the Aston Martin driver, and Kruti gets privileged view of that battle. There's wheel banging all the way through turn number 17 and 18, but Haddad manages to conserve that before, as his own rookie manages to also get the place since the start of the race. Is up into P13, trying to look for more places, capitalizing on the advantage of the soft tires. Modesto Mena and Dario Emolo on a scrap of their own, and Mena started last, is already up in P16, but contending with another soft tire runner. Is looking at the inside into the number 1. There's contact, didn't look like something too serious though. Lemulo does get a better exit. They are side by side at the moment as they get now into the slalom. Oh yeah, Mulo almost loses completely control, has to cut corner number 5, actually uses it to claim P15 as his own. Not sure if the stewards are going to take a look at that, but hostilities have kicked off very early in this race, Rana.
Very action-packed start to this race. Dario Yemlu, unfortunate incident on the first corner, making he have to recover the whole grid if he wants to get a good result. He's right behind his teammates right now. Let's see if there are any kind of team strategy or not going here, considering that Dario at the moment is on the faster compound. So it might make sense to have some kind of team play going on. In the meantime, we have Alessio Di Capo attacking Zelenkovic, so getting up to P13. His teammate for sure will try to do this, well, the same for 14, but passing Zelenkovic as well. He has the inside, which is now the outside to the second to last corner of the race. He goes a bit wide just to make sure that he leaves enough space for Zelenkovic and manages to conclude very well the maneuver. In the meantime, in the beginning of the race, you're mentioning about Luke Smith going side by side with another car. His teammate Alexis Morichon was also doing the same in the back. Very interesting beginning of the race for him as well. Unfortunately for him, he's now in P19 with Istvan Puki. Not the best of starts as well for the Red Bull driver, but it was very side by side until the big straight on this circuit.
Yeah, it's on Puki taking a look at the inside of Darling to turn 1, and he does the same now into, I believe this is turn 7 and turn 8. Goes on the switchback, there's contact. This one Puki though does get a better exit, used or due to that soft compound of tire over the medium of Darn. And no, actually Puki is on the mediums. I'm not sure why I thought he was on the softs. But nonetheless, he does get a better exit. The RS is now enabled for the drivers. Alessio Di Capua is challenging. Rookie gets himself through up to P12. And now Puki is able to defend from the charge of Darn. Morichon and Perez so close to each other as well as we enter this sector number 3. Nonetheless, there's a bit of a gap forming, almost 1.5 seconds between Puki and Mena. There's another gap between Capua and Samuel Bean, but look at that, Perez goes on the inside of Morichon, tries to surprise him, now goes around the outside of turn 17 and 18. They are still side by side into turn number 19. Who will get the best end of the deal? The Alpine goes a bit wide, but has to concede. It's Nani Perez moving up to P19.
Back is still quite close, all except for Alessio Di Capua in the DRS range of the car ahead of them, as they have gotten us used to. Not sure if folks will be able to get away from Sven Zerner. The gap is getting a bit bigger, but it's quite normal considering they're in a very difficult section to follow the car ahead.
Yeah, exactly. In the meantime, Samuel Bean took a lunge at the inside of Manolo Villar into turn 1. Didn't quite work out for him, so he still has to settle for P11. But what this creates is the fact that the slipstream from Bean to Manolo will be much powerful than the one from Manolo to Best Zabo. So Bean could end up getting a higher top end speed. It's actually not looking to do so. Capua has lost out on the RS, and the Amulo is going on the pounce on Rookie, is going on the inside, outbreaks is, well, the Spaniard, and gets himself past Rookie as he follows his teammate as they are P12 and P13 for the time being.
They've been managing to keep up together on the track. For now, Dario stays behind Alessio, although, as I mentioned previously, the compounds might suggest that Dario would be a better shot at attacking Manolo, but the truth is he's not really that close to his teammates. So maybe Alessio will have a better shot at Samuel Bean, which is not quite close to Manolo, which is on the verge, who is on the verge of losing DRS to Benchi Zabo. But as I said, that Benchi goes wide and he loses DRS to the car ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So we have now a bit of a train forming from P8 all the way to the top. Still led by Dani Perezna. Let's see how that one develops now with the DRS being open. Ben Zabo could also be vulnerable from a possible attack by Manolo Villar. And Alessio Di Capua penalizes, unfortunately for him, is the first driver to get penalized for exceeding track limits. Let's see how that one goes. DRS open quite a bit in the field. Will anyone be looking to move places? Luke Smith is challenging Lovecchio. Lovecchio is challenging Bereznai into this turn. Number 11, Lovecchio gets the inside, but Bereznai goes on the power earlier. They are still side by side now. It's Luke Smith taking a look at the inside of turn number 12 and 13. Will something come off of this? It tries with a lunge on the Italian. Surprises the Ferrari driver. Let's see how that one goes. Usually the driver on the outside gets a higher speed through the corner, and now it converts onto the inside line. Daniel Haddad gets a privileged view of this battle. Luke Smith has to concede and leaves the challenge for another moment as Lovecchio maintains P2. Great battle from these two drivers. In the meantime, Zerner, I believe, got past Hawks and into P7.
Was trying to see if Luke or Daniela would dive into the inside on the first corner, as it's one of the spots where you can overtake someone. Luke still looks on the inside of Domenico in the beginning of the S section, but manages to stays on P3. He knows there's still plenty of race to go, but quite animated. In the meantime, all this fighting has only made Thomas Ronhar more close to them, with Patrick Ruti right behind them.
Yeah, exactly. In the meantime, all of this battle did bring the pack together. Ox closed in on Zerner. Connie closed in on Hawks, so BenQ is not as vulnerable from a possible attack by BenQ, but looks like it will be round 2 between Smith and Lovece. Smith around the outside of the number 29 of the Ferrari. Actually gets a bit squeezed to the outside, nothing too major, as we now can see through the helicopter shot. A big battle. Oh, that's Daniel Haddad lunging at inside. He was just testing the waters. Nothing major came off of that. But Ronar now is close to the rear of Daniel Haddad. Nothing to come from that one either. So we are still in peace for the time being, Joanna.
Well, very difficult to say what will come up of those drivers on top. Who can thank all this is Van Zerner that has managed with the medium compound to keep close with the drivers ahead thanks to these changes for position. Thomas Ronhar keeping it really close to Daniel Haddad at this moment, but I think it's just Daniel Haddad trying to not be too close to Luke Smith in the section that they need more downforce. In the meantime, we had Daniel, Mena, picking up a penalty and going into the pits. So a very different race for the Alfa Romeo driver comparing to last week.
Yeah, exactly. We finished P2 last time out at Japan, so things not going his way today. In the meantime, BenQ pounces on Hawks, gets the move done. He's a sitting duck due to not being able to use the RS. He could get challenged by Manolo Villar. He takes a pick at inside. He actually lunges down the inside. Very nicely done. Both drivers go wide, and Hawk tries to reply with another lunge of his own. And we have Samuel Bean with privileged view of all of this. He's actually looking to pounce on that. Let's see from Alessio Di Capua what he can see from all of this. And both drivers end up overtaking Ox. Manolo Villar and Samuel Bean. Ox is out of the top 10, but due to all of that battling,
in the meantime, we have Thomas Ronhard, the first, followed by Patrick Ruti, diving into the pit lane. That will obviously be for medium compound tires. Let's see how the top now 4 respond to that. I'm pretty sure most of them will be stopping next lap, but it's crucial that they don't fight too much this lap if they want to not lose position to those two.
Yeah, exactly. Alessio Di Capua challenged Hawks, but Hawks with a better exit around the outside. It seems to be like the pattern here at Kota. The driver around the outside, even if he's being challenged, he can maintain a higher overall speed through the corner, and he actually gets most times a better exit. So I'm not sure if going down the inside has been actually the overtaking attempt to have. Nonetheless, I don't think Hawks will have DRS. If it does, Alessio Di Capua will benefit much more from the slipstream effect. And Yamulo, here he comes, the number 28 of the AlphaTauri. They are 3 wide. No, he actually does not have enough straight to challenge Di Capua or Hawks. A bit of a cheeky bump on the rear diffuser of the Haas though. But nothing too major. Oh, he loses out completely. And Hawks goes into the wall. In this out. And this could be a safety car. Let's see how that one goes. This could be... This could have serious consequences for Ronard and Kruti, who were trying the undercut. If the safety car is deployed, nothing
dives into the pits.
Yeah, nothing of that sort coming through. Oh,
and gets 5 seconds.
Yep, gets a 5-second penalty for exceeding the pit lane, but no safety car. So fortunately for Ronhard and Kruti, no safety car on this race.
I was looking at the delta, and I'm pretty sure that he will lose position. Thomas Ronhard took, I think, almost half a second to the guys ahead.
Okay. At the moment, BenQ with a lot of drivers going into the pits.
Position to run, huh?
Yeah. BenQ with now a lot of drivers going into the pits. He won't have access to the RS. So Villar could look at this as an opportunity to overtake him, as Modesto Mena gets the fastest lap of the race. He has pitted 2 laps ago for a brand new set of softs. And I believe the drivers will be going for a 2-stop strategy. Soft, soft, medium, or medium, soft, soft. I believe this would be
Soft,
the
medium, soft.
soft, medium, soft. You think so? Let's see.
We had
Oh
three
yeah.
drivers that are on soft that went for the medium.
Oh
So
yeah. Exactly. I didn't notice that actually. So yeah, they went on the mediums for the second stints, but I still believe. Actually, if the drivers on the softs can do 8, 9, possibly 10 laps on the softs, they might lose position due to the undercut. But if the softs can do 10 laps, the mediums can do 18, right?
I think that's what the top three is trying. No, well, Haddad stays out. Domenico Lovetti and Dani Beresney dive into the pit lane. It's time to get out of those soft compounds. Um, let's see where they'll rejoin the track. I think they'll rejoin behind Patrick Ruti, um, for the delta that I'm seeing to the leader.
Now let's see how that one goes. The McLaren of Beresney is behind Darn. Will he be behind Kruti? It's going to be close. He's actually battling with Ronar, so they are still ahead of Smith and Kruti. But it's going to be tight as we have Luke Smith challenging Ronar all the way into the slalom. Patrick Kruti gets privileged view of that battle. Ronar maintains the lead over Luke Smith. Beresney in P13. Now, this is not exactly ideal because he might be held up by Darn, for example, who is on slower pace due to more worn out tires. He's actually lunging on Darn. And could he get past Morichon right away with the DRS? Let's take a look at that specific battle. Great view here of the McLaren hunting down the Alpine. And now into turn 11. Ooh, a lunge there from Ronhard. Overtakes Morichon. Oh, maybe there was contact because Morichon went extremely wide. Maybe he was forced off by Ronhard. They're not exactly sure. And he loses a lot of places, including to Darn, who was another driver on the same strategy as him. So they were fighting for position. He ends up losing the position to the Alfa Romeo driver.
Yeah. Quite two more drivers stopping, like Daniele Haddad and El Huki. I'm quite convinced they'll go for soft medium only, but I'm also quite convinced that the guys that stopped 2 laps earlier will also try to do that. So let's see how the medium compounds will be at the end of the race. In the meantime, we have Dani Beresney, Thomas Ronhard and Luke Smith way ahead of Daniele Haddad, only in P14, with Patrick Ruti and Domenico Lovetti between them. So quite a few changes, I'd say.
Yeah, I think Kruti actually jumped Lovece and Haddad. So it would be net P1 for Beresney, then Ronhard and Smith, then Kruti, Lovece and Haddad in P6. So not the best decision to stay out on the part of Haddad. Lovece also lost out quite a bit. And Beresney is in the lead at the moment. He might be challenged though. And finally, we have a few more battles up the order as Patrick Kruti gets a view of Ronhard battling Luke Smith and Dani Beresney. Ronhard got overtaken by the Alpine. Meanwhile, we have Samuel Bean, who was witnessing the battle between Manolo Villar and Ben Szabo. As Manolo Villar had an attempt at the Red Bull, didn't turn out to be a successful one, so the order is maintained in this group. Alessio Di Capo right behind him, but yes, the penalty, unfortunately for him. Samuel Bean, though, with the DRS, with a stronger slipstream, is actually going to lunge once again at the inside of Manolo Villar. It's not the first time he has tried this one. Didn't work out the first time around. Might work out the second time of asking. He goes around the outside. There's contact. Ooh, that could have become nasty. But both drivers keeping their cars under control. And Samuel Bean, in the second time of asking, makes it stick. Up into P3 he goes. Nardi Perez now very close to his teammate.
We can't forget, in the meantime, in the front fight, that Luke Smith has a penalty, and unless there is a late safety car and they all stop, he will be in trouble with the grid so close to each other. Quite a few laps still to go for the top 8 before they stop. In the meantime, we have a change between Manolo and Alessio Di Capua. Manolo going on the outside at the end of the race, having to take a little bit of a different line than the one they're supposed to take. But it seems that Alessio Di Capua will maintain P4 for now. Again, different lines. Manolo with a better exit for the inverted Turkey corner, but Alessio Di Capua manages to keep P4.
Exactly. In the meantime, we had, I believe it was Yamulo overtaking Mohichon, as Yamulo is on much softer, much fresher tires rather. So, quite of a quote-unquote easier maneuver to pull off. Nardi Perez is pressurizing his teammates, but still nothing to come from this just yet, as I believe they are looking
Manolo
to...
Villar loses the car.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Out
there's a
of turn
spin.
one.
Yeah, there's a spin for him. And that's
I
really
didn't
unfortunate.
understand what happened. It seemed like he was in control of the car in 1 second, and then on the other he was in a
It was
spin.
not. Yeah. Yeah, quite, well, looks like possibly just snap oversteer or something, because those curbs can get quite slippery. Of course, a bit like Portimão, where some of those corners you try to put the power down and the car, due to the nature of the track as it goes downhill, the weight of the car is to the front, so it's very easy to lose traction in the rear. Looks like the same happened, because the exit of turn 1 is downhill, a lot of weight of the car gets lifted from the rear, and that could be the cause of Villar losing the rear there. Lovece glued to the back of Kruti and Ronard. He goes on the inside of the Mercedes. They are side by side exiting turn 11 into turn 12. It's the inside for the Mercedes. If they keep it this way, it will be the inside for the Ferrari into the hairpin. Yes, it is. Will he be able to get the move done? Looks like he does so. Kruti possibly could have taken a look at the switchback. Just wasn't meant to be. Maintains or goes down to P12, the Polish driver. Lovece climbs up to P11.
I'm pretty sure that Daniela will be the next one trying to attack on Patrick. Patrick has much less barrier energy than the opponents close to him. We have Daniele. Yeah, he dives on the inside of Patrick Ruti into turn 1, and I think that's the position for the Italian.
Did he collide with Lovece? I think I saw some carbon fiber flying. No, it looks like
he
everyone...
might have touched Patrick. I was on board with that. I didn't understand, but not with Domenico.
Yeah, looks like everyone's front wing is okay. Yeah, the Ferraris, the Mercedes, and the Aston Martin's front wings are okay. So let's continue with this, as we have now Sven Zerner still in the lead for the time being. Samuel being very close to Ben Szabo, nothing to come off of that, but finally we have a swap between the Williams drivers, because they are losing time to the group ahead. This one, Puki isn't really been able to... is not able to bridge the gap between P5 and P4, so the Williams, they need to start making some moves, they need to start making something happen. Otherwise they'll just get further and further away from that P2, P3 and P4 group. Let's see how that one develops. Meanwhile, further back, it's still Bereznai leading the group, and you can see it, they are closing in on the duo of Williams. So that's another reason why they need to start making some moves to try and get away from this group.
It's not really easy to get away from this group. As you mentioned, it seems like Istvan Puk is not being able to keep up with the guys ahead. And in the meantime, we have Dani Berezhnay almost catching up with the top 7. So that will be interesting to see if he manages to get, not in a bad way, but if he manages to get rid of them easily, or if Luke will have his shot at attacking the McLaren driver.
So let's see how that one develops. Dani Berezhnay did claim a lot of ground on Zelenkovic in his opening sector. 1.6 is the gap at the moment. Let's see Luke Smith. He has DRS on Berezhnay. Looks like he'll be pouncing on the McLaren. Rather academic maneuver. Not much to come from this. Rather straightforward. At the back, Modesto Mena, though, he has an off. Yellow flags were activated, but the incident is normalized. Mena just lost the position to Villar. Nothing much.
Yeah, but he's going to take it back in not one of the safest places on this track. In the beginning of the S section, whoa! This side by side, there's a bit of contact. Yeah. Manuel Villar has to go out and loses control of his car.
Yeah, exactly. There was a contact on those corners. It's
and
never
now
ideal.
He's just stopped on track.
Yeah, and he's on neutral. I'm not sure if this could be causing a safety car. I really don't think that would be the best course of action for this race. He's finally back on the track. Sorry, not back on the track, but back in motion.
Yeah, not on track, definitely.
Yeah.
He now has to let all those cars by, but he is back in motion. That's the most important for the lobby, I guess. Yeah, after the AlphaTauri, he'll be able to return race pace.
Yes. So the race goes on. Still not a safety car being deployed so far in this race, but Luke Smith and Berezna have caught up to Zelenkovic. And now, this is very important, Luke Smith has a penalty. If he didn't have the penalty, he would be in a very strong position for winning this Grand Prix. Samuel Bin finally pounces on Ben Sabo, gets the move done. Meanwhile, Nardi Perez gets the move done on Pookie. So both Red Bulls losing a place at the exact same time, there or thereabout. And Nardi Perez is actually, with all of this, been able to bridge some of the gap. He got up by about half a second on Di Capua, so his moves
It would be
worked out.
very interesting to see if Luke Smith can use those cars that have yet to stop to get some distance between him and Dani Berezne, but I really doubt it. Dani is a very, very experienced driver. In the meantime, Istvan Pukki, this is definitely not his day. He gets a penalty. I mean, yeah, he gets his first penalty. Luke Smith side by side with Zelenkovic. Well, it looked like Dani Berezne was going to dive in as well, but he manages to pass Luke and not Dani. So let's see if Dani loses a lot of time to Luke in this section. Hopefully not for the race contender, for the fight on track for the race contention. In the meantime, we have Manuel Villar retiring from the race on the pits.
It's understandable. A lot of frustration after that issue. Also his spin, of course, adding to that one. Zelenkovic is now challenged by Berezna and Ronard. That's a great maneuver, actually. Owen Hookie disconnected, but Ronard doing sort of a switchback, a later apex for Ronard, and he actually gets the move past Zelenkovic. Lovecki also overtakes him with the use of the RS. Now Berezna has to contend with Ronard. Looks like no, the Haas driver isn't looking to get aggressive on him. So for the time being, everything is going accordingly to action. Oh, and there's a battle between Luke Smith and Istvan Pukki. He was looking to get another car between him and Berezna. He has about one lap. He has the next lap to overtake as many cars as he can, because they are going to the pits at the end of this and the next lap for soft. So I believe the leaders are already in. Yes, Samuel Bin and Sabo Kone are both in the pits. So he needs to hurry up if he wants to put cars between him and Berezna. Let's see how that one goes. Of course, the slipstream is much stronger for Smith than it is for Pukki, and he takes advantage of that, the number 15, to get past Pukki. Another place moved up by the Alpine. He needs to try to get to Perez as quickly as possible. Let's go on board with him. Of course, Joanna, I ask you to go on board with Berezna so we can take a look at how quickly he gets past Pukki. But for the time being, let's see if Smith has the potential of overtaking Perez into turn 11. I don't think so. I think Nardi is too far away. Berezna is filling up the mirrors of Pukki. Let's see how that one goes on this DRS zone. Thomas Ronard has privileged view of that particular battle. And Berezna is glued to the rear diffuser of the Red Bull. He's pulling off alongside him and he's going to brake later. He has more confidence on those tires, fresher tires. Ronard is going to replicate the maneuver just like they overtook. I believe it was who was
There's
it
a
that
bit of
overtook?
contact between Istvan Pukki and Thomas Ronhard. Fortunately for the Haas driver, he manages to grab control of his car, but it was quite a bit tricky situation for the Haas driver. Ronhard with a bit of contact with Pukki, who will probably go for the pits this lap.
Yeah, exactly. In the meantime, Luke Smith as Perez. Now he has closed in on Perez, but
Yeah.
Perez pulls off into the pits. Zerner as well, so Capua is the next driver ahead of him. I'm not sure if Smith will be able to get the DRS off the Capua into turn
Yeah, he will.
11. No, he got now. I'm not sure if he'll
He
be
will.
able to do so.
It's 9 laps of difference on those tires. He's on the verge of the DRS range, so I'm pretty sure he'll be able to close the gap. I was going to say he already did, but it's changing a bit. Yeah, it seems like he already did.
Yes.
But then again, but Danny Beresney before they start, after the first car that looked past, he was 8 tenths far, and it's only 6 tenths now. So he actually managed to get closer to Luke Smith with all this. And yeah, definitely Luke Smith has DRS on Alessio Di Capua. I'm not sure it will be enough though to make a maneuver. While we have a yellow flag on the second
Pookie went
sector.
to the back, so something happened to Pookie while I was following Luke Smith. In the meantime, Sven Zerner is trying to make up some ground with those brand new soft tires and is pulling alongside Samuel Bean. Gets moved on. Ben Sabo might try to replicate the maneuver. No, he felt like he was too far away. Morichon now with Zelenkovic, he gets overtaken. Rookie also gets by.
A word for the fantastic job that Alessio is doing by holding Luke Smith and Dani Beresney. He's holding effectively the rest of the pack, and the first car that isn't on this pack is Dario Yemelu, who definitely gained some time on the cars ahead. Not quite enough to get the DRS, but still a little bit of help for his teammate.
Yeah, exactly. Nonetheless, this situation, I believe it's really locking in Beresnay as the winner, unless Beresnay makes a mistake, because Ronard isn't going to get past him as long as Beresnay has the DRS to defend. Lovecchio won't be able to get past Ronard, and I'm not sure if he's actually interested in, because he has net P2 assured. Adar would be the only one with some motivation to make some moves, but he actually has a big gap in the championship. So I'm not sure if anyone in this top 5 has any interest of moving up any places.
I'm sure that Daniele would want to fight uh, for what is P3. No, sorry, for what is P2 actually. But we've seen him after he lost to Danny. Whoa, Danny looking on the inside of Luke Smith, but no contact. As I was saying, when Danny won on Bahrain, we saw that Daniele was really sad for not winning. So we know that the Italian wants to win, but we also know that he's aware that the P3 is better than no points on this championship.
Yeah, exactly. So we still have quite a bit to go. It's still 8 laps. It's a long lap as well. So still a lot can happen. A lot of curbs that you have to be aggressive with, and with that comes the possibility of penalties. So things could still change as we have Pookie getting past Rookie. But yeah, I don't think anyone will be going extremely aggressive just to move up, because all of these drivers don't really have much to gain in being aggressive. Domenico Lovecchio would be the only one able to challenge Beresnay, but he has Ronard in the middle, and as I said, Ronard won't be letting Lovecchio pass as long as he has the DRS on Beresnay. So there's really not much to come unless any one of these drivers would be overly aggressive, and with that increases the risk of an incident. So I really don't see any of these drivers moving up any places, unless they make a mistake. Haddad is very close to Lovecchio though, so could we see maybe a maneuver? I'm not sure. I don't think we will, especially because Lovecchio got a better exit out of turn 10. So yeah, nothing to come off of this just yet, at least.
Yeah, leaving it to the last laps as usual. We should be used to that by now. In the meantime, Dario lost all the gap he had, close to Patrick ahead of him, and the leading pack. He also has Van Zerner closing him on him with the softer compound, and that's really relevant because Yemlo has a 3-second penalty, and Zerner is now on net P3 at least. P7.
Yeah, I'd also like, of course, there's a tight group here between Zerner, Bean, and Ben Szabo. It's quite interesting to see if they are going to pull the trigger on Zerner, or maybe Zerner can bridge the gap to Yamulo. Oh, and that finally makes a move on Lovece. They are side by side now into the slalom, and Haddad gets the move done. So, yeah, looks like Haddad was actually the only one not content where he was. Takes advantage of that. Lovece drops down to net P3.
He's still going for Danny. Right, what I'm saying. He's still going for Danny. Or at least try.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult, though, because of the factor I mentioned. But in the meantime, oh, Honard took a look at Berezny, unless that was some lag moment.
No, it was a desync. It was a desync. Yeah. He had the red cross while he was doing that.
Yeah, okay. So Berezny is now... He knows of the move Haddad did, and he wants to put another car between them. Berezny just doing everything he can to make the win. Haddad had 2 cars behind him. Berezny had 2 cars between him and Haddad. Haddad gets past Lovece. Berezny does the same to take the lead. Gets, once again, 2 cars between him and the Italian driver of the Aston Martin. So, it will be difficult. It will be even more difficult now, because if Ronar gets passed by Haddad, he loses out on the opportunity to challenge Luke Smith for P4. Maybe, no, actually not P4, I believe it is P5? Yeah, I believe it's P5, because of the penalties. It would be Haddad, Lovece, and Kruti getting past them, so... Yeah, Ronar now has a lot of motivation to keep hunting down Luke Smith, put the pressure on him. So I'm not sure if anything will, any opportunity will present to Haddad. In the meantime, the other Aston Martin is in a chaotic situation at the moment, because all 3 of Bean, Zerner, and Connie overtook Yamulo. Bean took the lead of the group that was previously held by Zerner. So Bean overtook 2 cars very quickly. Yamulo, maybe he can keep up with DRS and Slipstream, but he has 3 times older tires and also harder tires, harder compound. So it will be difficult for Yamulo to keep up. Let's see what he can achieve. He's going to give it a shot, no doubt. Daniel Haddad really glued to the rear of Honard. Honard goes defensive. He's going now along the outside. Oh, he also actually almost overcooks it. Honard takes the situation to try and challenge Smith. Couldn't quite get it done. Haddad, almost went into the back of Luke Smith there.
It's not done yet. Race bug. Haddad looking really close to Thomas Ronhar. Luke Smith always taking a different line to the other drivers on that inverted Turkey corner. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Daniel Haddad will try again on this lap. He's hungry for more. He sees Danny Berezny going away. He knows that's the race win right there. It's still close to him. Thomas Ronhar goes on the inside, has a worse exit than Daniel Haddad. He goes on the outside for this corner, but Thomas Ronhar manages to close the line before Daniel is completely side by side, and that makes the Aston Martin driver stay behind him for another, at least sector.
Exactly, and Thomas is really not in contention with Haddad, but he's doing that because he has a chance. He needs to keep himself in contention with Luke Smith. So he's really only doing his job, keeping his options open in terms of overtaking Luke Smith and trying, because he's the only one in this group that is really racing against. Let's see how that one develops.
Not really.
What do you mean?
Not really, because Thomas Ronhar only has 3 seconds. Luke Smith has 5. In the meantime, I have Daniel Haddad side by side with Thomas Ronhar and Ruben. I think this is it. The Aston Martin driver manages to grab P3, but they're still side by side. It's a bit of a contact there, and it seems like Ronhar... Whoa, another dive from Daniel Haddad on the inside. Bare exit from the Haas driver. This is very good for the 2 cars ahead that managed to go away from them. Not yet done for Daniel Haddad.
And with all of this, Lovece could be looking at overtaking his fellow Italian, because with the aggressiveness that we are witnessing from these two, things could get dicey. Haddad with Honor once again. He's going around the outside of turn 1. He's not letting Honor get the best of angles into turn 1. He's going for the switchback. He goes early around the power. There's contact once again. The cars are glued. And what a maneuver there from Haddad. Lovech takes advantage of the situation. Gets the move done. Gets himself into P4 as well. Honor now, he needs to try his best to keep up with them, because Luke Smith, as you've said, he needs to be within 2 seconds of Honor for Honor to claim the place of the Alpine. Now Zerner, who was in the inverse strategy, has caught up to this group. They've already overtaken Patrick Cruti. Things could get dicey in the back of this pack.
It looks like we'll be 2 McLaren drivers on the top 5 if it stays this way. Racebug, but we have Sven Zerner trying to do it on track. We have 2 cars side by side. Daniel Haddad losing position to Domenico Lovecchi, and Thomas Ronhar for now keeping losing the position to Sven Zerner, but for now keeping ahead of Patrick Cruti.
And Sven Zerner,
who has Sam Albin side by side with him. Sorry.
Yeah, and Sven
So
Zerner, Sven Zerner goes on the
side by
inside of
side.
Daniel Haddad. This is the best thing he could have done in terms of helping Bereznai. Bereznai, he doesn't need much help at the moment. He's in the control of the race, but Zerner, of course, is in much softer tires. Now, I would say that the best chance for Haddad would be to follow Zerner, because Zerner will probably still has the life on his tires to overtake Lovecchi, and if Haddad can follow that and follow the McLaren, then maybe could take the fight to Luke Smith, and then who knows from there on. But Samuel Bin is now challenging Thomas Honor. They are side by side. This could get dicey once again into the slalom. No, Honor takes the advantage of that specific battle and holds on to P6 for the time being. Emulo with another penalty. I believe it's not the first for the Italian one, for the Italian driver. Let's see how things develop from here on in, as Ben Sabo gets a better exit over Samuel Bean, not really able to get the move done just yet. Let's see now on this another DRS train. Sven Zerner, I'm going on board with him. He has the slipstream, he has the DRS. Lovecchi does have the same mechanisms to defend himself from the McLaren though. And Sven Zerner is on the lower limits of his battery charge. Samuel Bean is looking to get past Honor. Honor tries to defend on the outside. Ben Sabo could try to challenge the Haas. Samuel Bean overtakes him. Now Ben Sabo, with superior traction from his soft tires, goes around the outside. It's going to convert into the inside. And Honor really doesn't have much to defend with. Has to settle for P8 now.
He also needs to worry because Patrick Cruti right behind him is another position he'll lose if it finishes like this, as the Mercedes driver has no penalties. So it would be P9 for the Haas driver, who once was on the top 3. In the meantime, this is also very bad news for Luke Smith, because the cars are all glued up down to P12. And he has a 5-second penalty. In the meantime, we have a Sven Zerner dive on Domenico Lovecchi. What a maneuver from the McLaren driver. I said 2 on the top 5, it's now 2 on the first 2 positions if it finishes like this.
Yes, exactly. This could turn out to be a 1-2 for the McLaren. Still Lovecchi on a podium position for the time being, which is an amazing string of results from him. Probably once more, but still, comparing to his first half of the season, it's a nice improvement in form for the Italian. But nonetheless, Zerner with a textbook lunge into Lovecchi. Great maneuver, greatly done, and he goes up into P3. Samuel Bean now is all over Daniel Haddad. I'm not sure if he's actually going to attack his teammate. Patrick Cruti taking a look at the inside of Thomas Honari. Breaks later. There's a lockup for the Haas driver. He gets pushed wide, as he has gotten so many times during this race. The outside of turn 11 is really not the place to be. Nonetheless, he's able to lunge on the inside of Cruti into 12, who's now getting lunged on the inside into 14 by Alessio Di Capua, who overtakes both of them. Cruti pinches Diaz into the inside, and now Nardi Perez gets involved in the mix. Daniel Emulo gets privileged view of this battle, and Ronald loses so many positions. His tires have gotten the best of their performance. They are now on the downhill of the graphic. and in terms of performance, right? And now it's just dropping places hand over fist. Samuel Bean taking advantage of the advantage of tires and gets past Haddad. Ben Sazabo could do the same though. He's actually very close to the Aston Martin. No, nothing to come from this.
I'm
Meanwhile, at the
pretty
front,
curious
yeah.
to see what Alexis Marichan is doing, because he has to stop this lap. He hasn't stopped.
He hasn't been lapped, so I'm not sure. I mean,
No, he hasn't stopped.
oh, the entire race? No.
Yeah.
That can't be true because he's on lap 26.
Yeah, he's stopping now. He's stopping now. He has done the whole race on the medium.
Okay, I guess then. But now let's take a look at Sven Zerner. He doesn't pull the trigger on a maneuver on Smith. Kruti, Yamulo is trying to take a look at Ronar. Nothing coming of that. Oh, and another penalty for the Haas driver. And there's another battle between Haddad and Ben Sabo. Looks like the reverse strategy was really the strategy to be at. Nonetheless, this could be a huge knock in terms of the championship standings. Because there you have it, Dani Bereznai, he did what had to do. Pounced on Lovece off of the start and really never looked back. Dani Bereznai crosses over the line to take home the win of the USA Grand Prix. Great recovery drive from Sven Zerner, especially after that mess in qualifying. Lovece with another great P3 performance. Best Zabo P4, Daniel Haddad P5, Samuel Bean also a great recovery drive from him. Nardi Perez, look at the gap between Perez and Luke Smith, less than a tenth. Luke Smith still holds on to P7 on his debut. Perez is P8. I believe this is actually the maybe the best result of Perez's season so far. Di Capua couldn't get the points by 3,000ths of a second. Di Capua missed on the points by 3,000ths of a second. This man needs to go to some sort of exorcism, because this man cannot catch a break this season, Alessio Di Capua. How unfortunate. 11th place by 3,000ths of a second. 1-2 for the McLaren in an amazing performance.
Well, let's see if it stays that way. That 5 seconds from Luke Smith might be a question of where the line is not where the sensor is, and the game gave him the 5 seconds. But on track is a on track with the result we have. It's a 1-2 for McLaren. Sven Zerner definitely deserved this podium, in my opinion.
So let's see how that one goes. The celebrations for the Woking-based squad, very well done by them, as they get P1 and P2. Luke Smith fought valiantly, but that penalty really puts into question his capability of getting the podium. Of course, the penalty was the deciding factor on his race. Still fought well on his debut. We are going to have the opportunity to speak with Dani Bereznai now as we get the results, and he's already with us, and we can go for the interview with the Hungarian driver. Unfortunately, today we only have time to talk with the winner. So, Dani, good evening. What do you have to say about this amazing race?
Hi guys. Yeah, it's been a challenging race to be honest, because my car was quite understeery. I was not happy. I looked up quite a few times. It was hard to reach our GRS, but I played the strategy well. I think I pit in the perfect lap, had the perfect in lap, had the perfect out lap, managed my positioning nice. Then at the end I just had more DRS than anyone else, so I could keep the lead, which is not easy in a DRS train like that. So I cannot say anything else. I'm so happy about this. And yeah, I wish I didn't despot down to in Japan, because I thought that I was there the favorite too. Now I'm on the top for like 3 races in a row in terms of performance. So this is good. I hope it goes on like this.
So Of course, this could have been a great. Well, this was a hugely important race because, of course, you managed to always keep a lot of cars between yourself and Haddad. And Haddad actually managed to not be able to get on the podium, so you gained a lot of points on him. What is the importance of that for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, so I just do the best that I can every single weekend. Obviously, I started the season of late. I missed the first 3 races, so I'm not really looking at the championship. But now I'm P2 behind Haddad. I just want to keep this P2. I think P2 is an awesome result, considering the fact how much I missed. And if I can just get closer, maybe within 20, 30 points of him, then that is awesome for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, coming up next, we are going to Saudi Arabia. Is it a track you enjoy in any way?
I've never raced there, so I
Okay.
honestly have no clue.
Okay. So yeah, let's see how that one turns out then. It's going to be a surprise for most of us because it's a fairly new track. But yeah, Danny, congratulations on the win. Massive 1-2 as well in the constructors for the McLaren squad. Thank you for your words today.
Yeah, thank you for your stream. See you next week. Bye bye.
Yeah, see you. So with that, thank you everyone for dropping by. Of course, next week we are headed towards Saudi Arabia for the Jeddah circuits, the Jeddah street circuits. An interesting one for sure. Hope to see you all then. Good evening everyone and have a wonderful day. Goodbye. See you next week.